What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Fuel channel, where we speak the truth, we're honest, we give our takes on the Miami Dolphins. It is Friday, December 22nd, 2023, and this is the preview for the Miami Dolphins taking on the Dallas Cowboys on Christmas Eve. This is the game on Sunday. On Christmas Eve, the entire NFL slate. This is the biggest game on Christmas Eve. All the eyeballs are going to be on the Miami Dolphins against the Dallas Cowboys. Which team will be able to squash their narrative? Will the Dallas Cowboys go on the road and finally get a road win against a good team? Or are the Miami Dolphins going to get over the hump and they're going to beat a good team? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you I'm worried going into this game. I'm really worried. And yeah, I'm excited too. But I'm more worried than I am excited. And let me tell you why. There's a lot of pressure on the Miami Dolphins from the national media that I feel like it's going to be too much for the Miami Dolphins to overcome this week. You listen to Shannon Sharp's comments on Tua Tagovailoa and his press conference. You listen to Colin Cowherd and calling the Miami Dolphins fake tough guys, the fake Gucci bag, whatever that means. These analysts are putting a lot of pressure on the Miami Dolphins. Mike Greenberg on Get Up. There's a lot of pressure on the Miami Dolphins. And I'm going to be in the rare minority of this, which is why I decided not to say it on Twitter this week, because I don't want to get the hate. I don't like what Tua Tagovailoa said this week in his Wednesday press conference, saying that you can call me whatever you want, say whatever you want about me. I keep receipts. Why would you say that right before the biggest stretch of your entire season against three of the best teams in the NFL? Why would you go out and say such a thing like that? I keep receipts. That's going to come back to bite him in the ass. Because if the Dolphins lose, that's exactly the clip the national media is going to use. They're going to be like, you said you keep receipts? Yeah, we keep receipts too. I don't know why he would say that. He could have said that at any time of the season. He could have said that in October. He could have said that in the beginning of the season. Hell, if they beat the Cowboys, he could have said that next week. I hate the timing of it, and I don't like that he said that. And it's going to come back to bite this team in the ass. Because it comes off cocky. It comes off cocky. And this is the biggest game of the season for the Miami Dolphins. I'm here to tell you right now, I have faith, I have optimism that the Dolphins are going to win this weekend. Although I've been here before. I've been here before with this team. 2020, they needed to win to get in the playoffs. They got blown out. 2021, they needed to win to keep their hopes alive in the playoffs against the Tennessee Titans. They got blown out. 2022, they go into December 8-3. They lose 5 of the last 6 games of the season, and they barely make the playoffs. So I've been here before with this team. And yes, I was worried last week as well, but I'm also worried this week as well. It might be that that's just who I am as a fan. I'm a fan who worries a lot about my team. And that's just not about the Miami Dolphins. That's every team that I'm a fan of. And if they lose to the Dallas Cowboys this week, the birds are going to be chirping even louder. and they are not going to be off our ass. They're not. And if they lose to the Cowboys, I could see a realistic possibility of the Miami Dolphins finishing the season 10-7. And if that happens, that's a video I don't want to make. That is a video that I don't want to have to make on this channel. Because even if the Miami Dolphins get in the playoffs and they're 10-7, folks, they're going to be the last seed, probably going to Kansas City in the first round. And who's going to have confidence going into that game? Nobody. Absolutely nobody. So, this is a game you need to win. We're going to go over everything Miami Dolphins, Dallas Cowboys. I had to get that off my chest because once again, from the Dolphins community on Twitter, I've seen way too much cockiness going into this game. And you guys should be worried. You should be worried going into this game. As I am. I'm really worried going into this game. We're going to talk about it all. We're going to talk about the Dolphins, the injury report, and all that stuff. I thank you guys so much for joining me here today. Merry Christmas to you all. It's 2 days away from Christmas Eve. 3 days away for Christmas. I'm very excited. Christmas is the best holiday of the year when the Miami Dolphins don't lose. Because last year, the Dolphins lost to the Green Bay Packers, and it ruined my Christmas. I was in a terrible mood the entire day, and I couldn't hide away from it. I hope this year's different, man, because if they lose, it's going to ruin my Christmas. Because this team controls my emotions. So, but I'm excited to spend time with the family and all that stuff. But we've got to get down to business first. Miami Dolphins, Dallas Cowboys. Before we get into this game, before we get into the injury report, if you haven't already, be sure to go ahead and check out my Week 16 predictions. We started out the week 1-0 with the Los Angeles Rams defeating the New Orleans Saints last night on Thursday Night Football. A great night for my fantasy team. Matthew Stafford got me 20 points, and I believe Kyren Williams got me 16 fantasy points as well. So a lot of people started fantasy playoffs last week. Mine started this week, so I'm off to a great start with Matthew Stafford and Kyren Williams, and I couldn't be any happier. So, hope that keeps up. Got a couple Dolphin players on my fantasy team as well. Raheem Mostert, Jalen Waddle. So, looking forward to that. And be sure to subscribe to the channel as well for all the content. I'm going to be here regardless. Whether it's bad or good, I will be here. So, but I hope it's good. I hope it's good. Okay, let's get into the injury report. There's a lot to talk about with this. Number one, Devon Achane, Deshaun Elliott, and Teron Armstead all don't have game status going into this game, which that means all three of those guys are going to play. Achane did not practice on Wednesday, but he told Kay Adams in an interview yesterday that he's going to be good to go. Teron Armstead played a full game last week. He's good to go this week against the Dallas Cowboys. And Deshaun Elliott did not play last week against the Cowboys because of a concussion. He's cleared concussion protocol. He's back, and that is awesome news for the Miami Dolphins secondary. You look at the injury report, Robert Hunt, another week where he will not be playing, which kind of sucks for him because his status in free agency is going to go down. because he's only played in like half the games this year. If I can think, he didn't play against Kansas City. He didn't play against the Raiders. He didn't play the Jets. He's missed 5 games this year. It's about to be 6. So he's only played 8. He's only played 8 to 9 games this year. That's not great for his status as a free agent going into 2022. He's out another week. Then you're looking at the questionables. Elijah Campbell's questionable. Tyreek Hill is questionable for another week. Javon Holland is questionable, and I don't think he's going to be playing because it was reported that he was only seen stretching today, and that's not much at all. So I don't expect Holland to play. Probably not going to see Holland on the field until the playoffs. 2 sprained MCLs that sounds brutal. So can't blame him there, I guess. Xavier Howard is questionable. He says he's good to go, but that's going to be up to team doctors. Who knows if he's going to be playing or not. The last time he said he was playing was against the Philadelphia Eagles, and he didn't play. So take that as you will. Austin Jackson is questionable with an oblique injury. It's a big one to look out for. Emmanuel Ogbah questionable, and Cam Smith is questionable as well. So the Miami Dolphins are going to have 7 players questionable on Sunday. If they elevate anybody from the offensive line, it's probably not good for Austin Jackson. If they elevate a wide receiver, that's not good for Tyreek Hill. Because, folks, let me tell you something. The Dolphins are good enough to beat the Jets without Tyreek Hill. They obviously proved that yesterday. But if Tyreek Hill can't go against the Dallas Cowboys, the Dolphins are not beating the Cowboys on Sunday. I'm just telling you. So, then you look at the Cowboys. And their injury reports actually are pretty small. They have 4 players questionable. Jonathan Hankins, their defensive tackle, is out on Sunday. He will not play. And their left tackle, this is big, Tyron Smith, who did not play, who did not practice this week, is doubtful. So he's probably not going to play on Sunday. That is big for the Miami Dolphins defensive line. Then you look at their questionables. Safety Malik Hooker is questionable. Right guard Zach Martin, another big one, thigh injury, is questionable. Didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday. Was practicing in a limited basis today. So the Cowboys, they're going to be down 1 starting offensive lineman in Tyron Smith. If Zach Martin can't go, that's an issue for the Dallas Cowboys on the offensive side of the ball. And then tackle, I think it's a backup. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it because I don't want to get it wrong. One of their backup tackles is questionable. So the 2 big ones to keep an eye out on, Tyron Smith, doubtful. He's probably not going to be playing. And Zach Martin, who is questionable for the Dallas Cowboys. He's questionable. So, without further ado, let's get into this game. The Cowboys and the Dolphins. We're going to start out with the Cowboys offense going up against the Miami Dolphins defense. And by the way, the Miami Dolphins are going to be in their throwback uniforms this Sunday, and the end zones are not going to be the diamond orange ones that they had against the New England Patriots. If you guys remember their end zones, when they wore their God, that was so bad. If you guys remember their red zones, where they wore their throwback jerseys against the Philadelphia Eagles in 2019, with the helmet on the left side of the end zone and the Dolphins, the name Dolphins in the middle, that's their logo, and it's orange, and it's pretty cool. So that's going to be their end zones on Sunday. Cowboys offense. Cowboys offense is ranked 6th with 368.5 yards per game. The Dolphins defense is ranked 5th with 293.5 yards allowed per game. So they went up, which means now the Miami Dolphins have a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense. That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Will they keep it up? Who knows, man. Probably not, but we'll see. Cowboys passing offense is ranked 4th with 268 passing yards per game through the air. Dolphins passing defense is ranked 12th with 227.5 yards allowed per game. Cowboys running offense is ranked 12th with 116.5 yards allowed per game. Or with 116.5 rushing yards per game, I'm sorry. And the Dolphins run defense is ranked 4th with 90.5 yards allowed per game on the ground. So you go back and you look at the game the Cowboys had last week against the Buffalo Bills. The Cowboys had 195 total yards of offense. Tony Pollard was held to 52 yards and only averaged 4.5 yards per carry. The Cowboys had 89 rushing yards. The Cowboys got down early and often. The way the Cowboys want to play is the same way as the Miami Dolphins do on offense. They want to be playing with a lead. They don't want to be playing behind where they have to play catch-up. They want to play with a nice, comfortable 2-possession lead throughout the game. And they weren't able to do that against the Buffalo Bills. They were down 14-0 pretty early in the game, and then they were down 21-3 at halftime. And in the second half, they were one-dimensional. And the Cowboys didn't run the ball, and Zach Martin got hurt in the second quarter, and the Buffalo Bills brung the pressure. Sean McDermott brung the pressure on defense, just getting up in Dak Prescott's face. They had 3 sacks, making him make bad throws, and it was a clinic from the Buffalo Bills defense against the Dallas Cowboys. And you look at all the games the Dallas Cowboys lost this year, the running game stands out. Tony Pollard had 52 yards rushing against the Buffalo Bills. Back at Week 9, when the Cowboys lost to the Philadelphia Eagles, Tony Pollard had 51 yards rushing on 12 carries. They lost to the San Francisco 49ers in Week 5. Tony Pollard had 8 carries for 29 yards. The Cowboys only had 57 rushing yards total. The Cowboys were one-dimensional in that game against the San Francisco 49ers. The only game where Tony Pollard had a good day rushing and the Cowboys lost was Week 3 when they lost to the Arizona Cardinals, and Tony Pollard had 23 carries for 122 yards. So that's pretty significant, man, because the Cowboys, they don't want to play down like they did against the Eagles and the 49ers and the Bills. And you look at the Cardinals game, they were down 21-10 at halftime to the Arizona Cardinals. So They want to play with a lead. And they are the second best third down conversion team on offense in the NFL. So, what are my keys for this game? Number one, you got to stop the run because you look at the numbers from Tony Pollard. Besides the Cardinals game, anytime the Cowboys lost this year, Tony Pollard did not have a good day rushing. Tony Pollard was limited. Why was Tony Pollard limited? Because the Cowboys were down big in those games and they had to throw the ball. They became one-dimensional, and that's exactly what you want. You want the Cowboys to be one-dimensional and force Dak Prescott to drop back 40 to 45 times a game, even though Dak Prescott is playing like an MVP this year, and he's had a couple stinkers in between there, but he's playing MVP ball this year for the Dallas Cowboys. You want to be able to stop the run and force the Cowboys to get one-dimensional. So that's number one, is stopping Tony Pollard and stopping the run game. Number two, you got to get pressure on Dak Prescott. Tyron Smith being out, he's doubtful. He's not out yet. But Tyron Smith, the possibility of him and Zach Martin not playing opens up a lot of questions for the Cowboys offense. If those guys can't play, Bradley Chubb, Christian Wilkins, Zach Zeller, Andrew Van Ginkel, those guys might be able to keep the Dolphins in the game. They might be able to keep the Miami Dolphins in this game. So, hey, that's big. You got to want to get pressure on Dak Prescott. Force him to make bad decisions, which is exactly what the Buffalo Bills did last week. They got pressure to Dak. They got a couple third down sacks. They got an interception, a couple batted balls, bad throws because he was having pressure in his face. That's what you want. And the Cowboys have one of the best offensive lines in the league. Just because their left tackle is going to be out and maybe their right guard doesn't mean their offensive line stinks. They've got a top 10 center in Tyler Bates, and they got a solid left guard in Tyler Smith, second-year left guard out of Tulsa. So you want to get pressure on Dak Prescott. That's my second key. And my third key in this game is you have to try your best to shut down CeeDee Lamb. Now, let me tell you, I've watched a lot of Cowboys this year. CeeDee Lamb is a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. And, this is the best season I think CeeDee Lamb is having in his career so far. It's like anytime I'm watching a Cowboys game this year, he's getting 100 yards by the third quarter. He's finding ways to get open. He's finding ways to win the matchup against the best corner on the other team, whether they're playing the Seahawks or they're playing the Eagles or they're playing the Jets with Sauce Gardner. This guy's just getting open. And the media asked Jalen Ramsey if he is going to be shadowing CeeDee Lamb, and he said, I don't think so. That's not my role in this defense. And Vic Fangio revealed that the only reason that he had Jalen Ramsey shadow down Garrett Wilson was because Xavier Howard didn't play last week. So if Xavier Howard doesn't play against the Dallas Cowboys, Jalen Ramsey is going to be shadowing down CeeDee Lamb. And I want Xavier Howard to play, but I would be okay. I would be okay with Jalen Ramsey shadowing down CeeDee Lamb. Let's get to the Dolphins offense against the Cowboys defense. This is where I'm worried. This is where I'm worried about. Is our offense against their defense. I'm worried about our defense too. But if I had to pick a side of what I'm more worried about going into this game, it's the offense. The Cowboys are ranked 6th with 294.5 yards allowed per game. The Miami Dolphins offense is ranked 1st with 414.5 yards per game. The Dallas Cowboys defense, their passing defense is ranked 4th with 195 yards per game. Okay? They've got 2 really good corners, and they've got a couple good safeties as well. We'll talk about that. Dolphins passing offense is ranked 1st, 285.5 passing yards per game through the air. Dallas rushing defense is ranked 19th with 117.5 rushing yards allowed per game on the ground. And the Dolphins rushing offense is ranked 4th with 139.5 yards per game on the ground. The biggest thing that stood out last week in the Dallas Cowboys against the Buffalo Bills was the Buffalo Bills ran all over the Dallas Cowboys. And it was to the point where they didn't just run to open up to open up passing options. They're just like, we're going to run the ball until you're able to stop us. And they weren't able to stop the Buffalo Bills. James Cook had 25 carries for 179 yards and a touchdown. The Buffalo Bills ran the ball 49 times for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. Josh Allen only threw the ball 15 times for 95 yards. That's scary. Josh Allen did nothing in that game, and the Buffalo Bills still blew out the Dallas Cowboys. Is Mike McDaniel smart enough to commit to the run in this game? I don't know. Because we've seen examples from last year and this year that Mike McDaniel has not committed to the run. And Mike McDaniel has a top 10 running back this year. Raheem Mostert is playing like a top 10 running back. He's got 20 fucking touchdowns. Devon Achane is a really good running back. These guys have to go to work in this game. But will Mike McDaniel have the game plan for them? I don't know. I want to trust Mike McDaniel, but there's been instances this year where he's gone away from the run. The Tennessee Titans, the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay? The Philadelphia Eagles, you couldn't run the ball because they just bulldozed you every time. But there's been instances that Mike Daniels refused to run the ball. This is a game where you have to run the ball. So, let's get into the keys. I basically just told you number 1, run the goddamn football. Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, they have to go to work in this game. They have to be explosive. Mike McDaniel has to give these guys the ball. They have to run the ball against the Dallas Cowboys. The Buffalo Bills basically just gave you a cheat code on what to do on offense against the Dallas Cowboys. Number 2, contain Micah Parsons. So what I mean by that is I don't know who's going to be lined up against Micah Parsons. He's all over the place. He could be on the outside, being blocked by Kendall Lamb. I don't think Austin Jackson's going to play in this game. So, on the outside, blocked by Kendall Lamb or Teron Armstead, or he could be in the inside, which, with our guards, I would be worried about. They have to contain Micah Parsons. Get the ball out quick. Run the opposite side of Micah Parsons. Don't run towards him. You got to get the ball out quickly against Micah Parsons. They have to. Just like last week, Tua got the ball out pretty quickly against the New York Jets early in the game to set the tone. We need more of that. We need more of that. And number 3, and I can't stress this enough in a game like this, no mistakes. You can't afford to stall out on drives with false starts and holding penalties and offsides. They need to put the ball in the end zone. They can't kick field goals against a team like the Dallas Cowboys. Because if they do, the Cowboys, they're going to make them, they're going to take advantage of that. You can't have stupid penalties. We're going to have a false start here and there. But inside their 20-yard line, you can't be having 10-yard penalties. You can't be having false starts. We need to put the ball in the end zone against the Dallas Cowboys. No fumbles. No interceptions, Tua, please. I'm begging you, man. I know it's hard, but please. No turnovers in this game. Prove to these people why you can get the Miami Dolphins over the hump. And that's where I'm going to end this. My entire life, I've been conditioned. For the last 3 years, I've been conditioned that the Miami Dolphins can't get the job done when it matters most. 2020, 2021, and 2022, late in the season, they let me down. Don't make 2023 the same thing. Give me hope. Give me optimism that this team can win the division, can go on a playoff run, and not be the same old Dolphins. I can't go through this again. And if they don't lose, if they don't lose to the Cowboys, they're going to the playoffs. You win this game, you're in the playoffs. And that's all I want right now. I just want to get in the fucking dance. I'll worry about the division later with the Buffalo Bills. We'll worry about the Baltimore Ravens and the 1 seed later. But right now, just beat the Cowboys and you're in the playoffs. That's what I got to say. I'm going to leave it on that. I'm getting out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will be back Sunday night with a post-game recap video for the Miami Dolphins against the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know how late it's going to be. It's a 4:30 kickoff, and the game will probably get over by 7:30. I have my grandfather coming over for Christmas Eve festivities. I will try to get the post-game recap video up by 9 o'clock on Sunday night. I'll try my best to get it up by 9 o'clock for you guys here on the channel. So we'll do that. And then that's all. Post-game recap video Sunday, Christmas Eve, right after the Miami Dolphins against the Dallas Cowboys. Hopefully talking about a Miami Dolphins victory. But I'm warning you. If they lose, It will get ugly. I will be ugly. I'm just warning you. Comment down below if you're a Dolphins fan or a Cowboys fan. Your thoughts down below. Let me know. Hit the like button if you like what you heard from me. And follow me on Twitter at Conlon_Joseph. Guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Merry Christmas to you all. I will see you Sunday night on Christmas Eve talking about the Miami Dolphins versus the Dallas Cowboys. I'm out. Have a good night. Stay safe. And as always, stay classy and fins up. I'm out. Peace!